Okay, so I'm making this video for everyone who was interested in how I've done our family photo albums, and I figured making this video and sharing it is just gonna be the easiest way to do this, rather than try to tell everyone individually. So what started all this is that my mom and we inherited like thousands and thousands of photographs, old family photos from my mom's side of the family and from my dad's side of the family. And you see this bin right here. We had maybe about 5 of these just crammed full, just completely crammed full with pictures. So it was a daunting task. We weren't sure where to start. What we went ahead and we did is that we separated all of the pictures by century. And then once we had the centuries, then we separated those by decades. And so we had the 1800s, 1900s, and the 2000s. And so once we had those, we then separated those by decades. And what you see here, we went ahead and we got the big gallon size plastic bags, and these are the uh, I think these are the name brand, the craft ones or whatever. But I'll tell you, the best ones to use for this job are the really cheap Walmart bags. I found that here, because the seal on the Walmart bags is not very good, it, for whatever reason, it makes this part actually more durable, so you have less chance of the bags tearing when you get the cheaper bags. I know it kind of doesn't make sense, but that's just what we found. So anyway, once we had all of our decades in order, then we went back, starting with the pictures from the 1800s, and for each decade we further organized those by year. And so then we slowly, why am I there? There we go. And then once we had, so like I said, once we had them by decade, we went ahead and we organized them, we separated them by year. Once we had them by year, then we further separated them by theme. So for example, if it looked like a Christmas party, we had the Christmas pile. If it looked like a birthday party, we had that. One thing we had to do, if there was no writing on the back of the picture, nothing to indicate the year, and I'll show you here, what we had to do was stuff like, just look at the clothing that the person was wearing. We knew that in a bunch of pictures, this guy, this is my uncle, that he had on this clothes, whereas in other pictures he had on this clothes. So that's how we ended up organizing within each decade. If we weren't sure what year it was, we just went by that. Or sometimes we had some of the pictures wore different. Here, I'll get this one out. Some of the pictures, the film printing was different on them, so we went by that. So for example, this one, it had this border on it, whereas this one had this border, so we know this wasn't taken on the same roll of film. So we can kind of deduce from that these pictures weren't taken at the same time, maybe approximately the same time, but so anyway, then once we had all these stacks of pictures together, I went ahead, I knew that we were going to end up with like 800 photo albums. And that, of course, I'm exaggerating. I think we actually ended up with probably about 50 out of this whole project, which I'm going to point out right now, this entire project took over 10 years to complete. So this wasn't something we just did on the weekend. This was like just a massive endeavor. What I did is, during the back to school season, I went over to Walmart and I bought a bunch of these binders. I think this is the 2-inch binder, 2-inch spine, and it's really important that you have the D ring, because the O ring is not going to work. It's going to tear your pictures apart. And So then I got these plastic sleeves here. I think during the back to school season, these run about 88 cents. Then over, I just hit the dog. Okay, then over here, this is just cardstock, and at the craft store you can get this on sale. It usually, for about a package of 100, you can get, that's about $3. And so, oh, in the binder, I believe each of these binders was $4, and you can also get them on wholesale. You could buy, and buy wholesale on these, but we just bought them as we needed, because when we started this out, we didn't know how many we would need. So then, some of this was trial and error as far as how we were going to actually put the pictures in the albums. What we found is that well, you don't want to actually glue the picture into the album, because what happened is that we did that, but then we realized there were mistakes in how we organized things, and so then flash forward to now, we have situations where we're having to cut some of these pictures out and put them in a different album. And so because I didn't think ahead about this, like I had glued the actual picture onto the paper, and so now I'm cutting these out, and I'm having to be extremely careful about cutting these pictures out to make sure I don't tear them. What I found is a better idea, a better thing is, and here I'll find one, is that you take a small scrap of paper that's a different color. This is, of course, this is acid-free paper, but you take a small piece of paper that's a different color from the back of the photograph, and you glue this piece of paper onto the back of the photograph. Then when you actually glue the picture into your album, if there's any reason later that you have to remove the picture from the album, you can pop it off very easily, and if anything tears, it's going to be this little scrap of paper. So basically, you're just being as careful as possible as you can, as careful as possible with these pictures. And these are a lot of fun to go through. Once you have the whole thing done, it's pretty cool. You can go in and see how these people age, just the progression of it. This is my father. That's a cute little picture. And then so like first birthday and second birthday, and well, let's skip ahead. And then here, let's see, here we go. Then you have, some when he's older, and then more when he's older. And so anyway, this lady was actually, that's the same one from right there. So, and some people ask why I didn't take like all the pictures of the same person and put them on the same page. So for example, there they are, this married couple, Francis and John. Why I didn't put them on the same page, I would have put their original wedding photo. And the reason for that is because I wanted to keep this as simple as possible and go chronologically. So, just going chronologically, you're not going to go wrong with that. And it really does make it a lot more fun, just to watch these kids grow up in the pictures. So, anyway, that's about it. If you've got thousands and thousands of pictures in a big old plastic tub, don't be worried. The project is possible. Might take you a very, very long time to do, but it definitely is worth it. Especially if you bring this stuff to your family reunions, you're going to be the popular person there because you're going to have all the pictures. So, all right. I hope that helps.